Hi, thank you for joining me. This is kind of following on from the last video where I talked about difference and diversity. So this is about tradition and belief, which are closely linked to that. Tradition, belief and expectation are things that affect everyone. It's given to you from the day you're born. They're at the heart of everything. You can't get away from it. Everyone has beliefs. The problem is that tradition often gets placed above human need. People hang on to it because it's been around for so long. It's what so many people for generations before have done, and they feel that you must follow it no matter what. This causes big problems when it isn't bringing any benefit, or if it's harmful, as some traditions are. Tradition is closely tied to belief. There is so much damage that can be done by faulty belief systems, and there have been so many of them through the ages. A lot of them we've moved away from, but unfortunately there are some harmful, dark and sinister beliefs that are still around. To give an example, in some parts of the world where they practice forms of black magic, voodoo, witchcraft and other occult rituals, these are very old belief systems, but it has very little benefit. It causes great harm and suffering. It's a common belief that if you're sick, it means you're possessed by evil spirits, and people are subjected to horrible, painful and distressing practices. They don't get what they actually need, which is compassion, medical help and understanding. They're made to feel terrified. They become even more sick, and sometimes people are killed. Children are killed as sacrifices. Yet they justify it because it's been around for a long time. Beliefs like this evolved thousands of years ago because they didn't have the science. So people believed that illness meant you were possessed, or that it was some kind of punishment. They needed a way to explain it. They used healing rituals and natural remedies because there was no medicine. When people became sick, it invoked an awful lot of fear. When the Black Death hit in Europe, it killed so many. We know now that it was brought over on the ships, as it was carried by the fleas that lived on the rats. But at the time, they had no way of knowing this. There was no explanation for it. So people thought it was a curse or the anger of the gods unleashed. Unfortunately, things like this still go on. Even when you present people with concrete evidence, they refuse to accept it because they don't want to let go of the belief. Here in Britain, we have a long history of torture, execution and burning witches. In the Middle Ages, they used to baptise babies by putting salt in their mouth and submerging them in cold water. At the time, they believed they were doing the right thing to protect the child's soul, but the poor babies, that tradition has been left behind now because it's child abuse. They used to put dead cats inside the walls of buildings because they thought it would bring good luck and ward off evil spirits. I don't know where that idea came from, but it was nonsense. All you had was a dead cat inside your wall, nothing more. Just being left-handed was enough to make you fear for your life. If you were left-handed, you would be persecuted and accused of witchcraft, because the belief was that the left was the side of the devil. So they thought that left-handed people must be evil or consorting with the devil. They had their left hand tied behind their back and they were forced to use their right hand. Often they would end up being killed or exiled. We know better now. It's just a difference. Superstitions like this came about when people didn't know any better. Now, because of technology and years of studying, we know about the human body and the brain. When people didn't understand these things, there were a lot of mistakes made and a lot more harm done than good. Yet somehow superstition still manages to affect people. The belief that Friday the 13th is bad luck, another superstition from the Middle Ages. Even now, people still get nervous when the 13th day of the month falls on a Friday. If anything goes wrong, they take it as proof that it's bad luck. But things go wrong all the time. If it happens on any other day, they don't read anything into it. But on Friday the 13th, people become paranoid because of an idea that society has given them, which came from medieval society. Superstition plays on people's fear. It's that what if it is true complex, even though logically it doesn't make any sense. Fear is very powerful. Too much importance gets placed on tradition, and not all tradition is good. Just because something is a tradition, that doesn't make it right. But people don't want to ask the question, is this actually benefiting anyone? And they turn a blind eye to the suffering. Every year, lives are lost to this. It really upsets me that people will put tradition and appearances before human life, health and well-being. Tradition should not be forced upon people. Everyone has a right to make a choice. Tradition needs to be weighed against human need. Belief needs to be weighed against evidence. You have to look at what's actually happening. If it's damaging to people's health and well-being, it needs to be left behind. People live their lives in fear unnecessarily because of unfounded beliefs and superstitions. I'm going to end with a line from a song that I used to listen to. Take the rope from round your neck and take the blindfold from your eyes. I think what that means is look around you, see things as they really are, and release yourself from that which is causing you harm. I hope this has been helpful. Thank you for watching. See you next time.